It's the Wait a Minute Show.
Bruh. Ain't that right, Lil Pan? Wait a minute. Book it. Really? Really?
The Wait a Minute Show with your host, Jolani J.B. Bodie.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Let me turn my mic on first. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? It is your man, Jelani J.B. Bodie, host of this thing called The Wait a Minute Show. Let me fix the mic a little bit. And we are here talking sports. And as you see, there's a big smile on my face. And I'll tell you why there's a big smile on my face in just a moment. But before we do all of that, before we go any further, you know what time it is. We are here in the ATL, here in the Lions Den studios, and we are here in your face, in your living room, on your phone, wherever it is that you are, we are here as well. So hopefully you guys have had a safe and prosperous holiday. You know, it was Gobble Day just a couple days ago. So a lot of people got a chance to sit down with family members and reflect and, you know, do all the, you know, the good stuff that you do out there. So hopefully you had a good time. It's still the weekend. We still got one more day to go for some folks before they have to be back at work. Some folks will probably still be taking an extended vacation, but it is what it is. And this is the Wait a Minute Show. And over there, chilling, mugging me because I've taken so long to mention his name. It is none other than the L, the O, the P, the A, the N. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Lopan.
Indeed.
So he's here, you're here, I'm here. We're ready to do this. So this is episode, 197, Lopan?
Indeed.
Yes, 197. 3 more shows, ladies and gentlemen. 3 more shows, and we will be touching that 200 plateau. But before I go any further, you're going to see a little bit later on. You're going to see a little bit later on, and you're going to hear me talking about it all throughout the show. It is the holiday season. It is time for the Wait a Minute Show 9th annual toy drive. Yes, almost 10 years. We are 9 years in of doing this thing. Appreciate you, Lopan. And we are trying to raise some money for some kids, to sponsor kids at nonprofit organization Helping Hands of Paulding County. So let me just tell you a little bit how that works real quick. It works as I get the donations, but I get the donations because I'm trying to sponsor some kids. I talked with the director there, which is Miss Reva Burks, and she gives a list of kids that is wanting certain items. She gives those items to me, and then I reach out to you guys, and we try and make it happen, you know, for those kids and get something off of their list that they're wanting. Now, the special thing about what we do at the Wait a Minute Show for our toy drive is that we just don't focus on the kids. That's 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. You know, I skipped 4, but you know what I'm talking about. We go from 1 to 18. We cover the teenagers because the teenagers get forgotten during this time. A lot of people think that teenagers are very, very expensive. But if you have seen previously what I've done, you have come to find out that it's not the case. We go out there and we find good deals, you know, for them, but also we get them what they want. Some of it is a little bit more expensive, but it is what it is. We're going to try and put some smiles on some kids' faces. So we have gotten TVs. We have gotten Xboxes. We even got meet and greets with Hall of Fame. I'm going to go ahead and say it now because there's no point of saying future Hall of Fame. Hall of Famer Dwayne Wade. So that's what we're doing here at the Wait a Minute Show. So I just want to let you know a little bit about it and give you a little insight to what we do. So it's real easy. Go to the waitaminuteshow.com. You will see a button that says Toy Drive. Click on that, and you got 3 options. You got GoFundMe, you got PayPal, and you got Cash App. However way you feel that you want to do it, and you give whatever you can. $1, $2, $5. It doesn't matter. If you got 5,000, we'll take it as well. But if anything, if you can't do that, make sure you're sharing it. Share it out there with friends. Share it out there with family. Share it out there on your social media pages. So there may be somebody else that is interested. So that's all that I ask for you there. Now, having said that, let's go ahead and get into some sports topics. Like I told you before, I am really, really, really happy. I got a big smile on my face because this is episode 197, but it is titled Harbaugh and Michigan gets the win. Yes, it has finally happened. Over a decade, but definitely since Harbaugh has been around, he's been 0-5. Michigan finally gets the win against Ohio State in the Big House in Ann Arbor earlier today to the tune of 42-27. Michigan was led by Hassan Haskins with 169 yards and five touchdowns. I watched this game, obviously, because I'm a Michigan fan, but I watched this game and what I was scared about that didn't come to be the truth early on in that game because it started snowing and everything. And I really, was thinking, I think Charles Woodson was talking about this, if I remember right. It was either Charles Woodson or it was Desmond Howard. I forgot which show I was watching. But they were talking about the run game, and I was right there with them. The run game. You got to enforce the run game, on Ohio State. You have to limit the possessions. You have to limit the big plays. You have to limit all of that, what Ohio State was going to bring to the table. And the weather permitted that to where they could run the ball. And that was early into the game where they got into the end zone pretty early. Then they got a 3-and-out. And then McNamara went down and he threw an interception in the red zone or almost in the red zone. And I was thinking that was not the move that we needed to make on first down. Keep pounding the rock. Well, they got back to that. And Ohio State, as you thought they would, they made a push to get back in it. But I got to give props to the defense, to Michigan's defense, because they stayed on Ohio State throughout the whole game. Aiden Hutchinson came up with 3 sacks of his own. Now he's the leading sack leader in Michigan history with 13 right now. He passes Lamar Woodley, who had 12 on the season for the Michigan Wolverine. So it was a collection of everyone in this. It was the run game. They got passing yardage when they needed it. The defense, like I said, Aiden Hutchinson, he was leading the pack on that, but they had timely plays where the defense showed up. They put Ohio State in down the distance, and they made them think, throughout the game. It wasn't just a game where they just flowed right through the game and they could just do anything that they wanted to do. That is what Michigan has been trying to do from get-go. And this was the first time that they were able, to make this happen. So for Ohio State, obviously this goes down as their second loss. And later on in the show, I'm going to talk a little bit about the football rankings and, what I feel that it does, especially this game and some other games that went on. Auburn and Alabama, who just finished up not too long ago. And right now, if you're watching this live, Notre Dame is playing Stanford right now. So there's still a lot of, football to be played. So we'll talk about that a little bit later on. But I am ecstatic because Michigan, it just felt great. It felt great to see what Michigan wanted to execute. They went out there and they did it. And you didn't have these laps to where you would question what John Harbaugh is doing or Jim Harbaugh is doing. So this gets them off the hook for the rest of the year because they beat Ohio State, but they have, a challenge coming up with them. Wisconsin lost to Minnesota. Shouts out to Vince Wright, Minnesota Gophers. They took down Wisconsin. So Michigan will meet Iowa in the Big Ten championship next week. So we got to make sure that this is not a letdown game. You build yourself up to take on the team and, all the history that goes on with Ohio State. You don't want to come out there flat for the next week. But Michigan wins 42-27, and I am happy for the rest of the day. Now, the second thing that we're going to talk about, and you listen to the Wait a Minute show with your man, Jelani JB Bodie, we're going to get into a previous team that played on Thursday. No, not my Detroit Lions and how all that stuff went down. I don't want to go back to that. I don't want to visit that. No, we're not going to talk about Buffalo because they put the beat down on the Saints. Yeah, we're going to talk about that game that everybody was talking about. Was probably the most watched game in the last, decade, 2 decades or whatever. But the Las Vegas Raiders taking on the Dallas Cowboys. So that was a action-packed game that went down into overtime. It went back and forth. Really, really good game, especially to have that game on Thanksgiving where everyone was watching, so everyone could sit down, eat their food, and see a really, really good game. Now, we know Las Vegas won 36-33. What I really want to talk about is this Dallas Cowboys team, okay? So Dallas, earlier in the season, was pretty much, right there in the top. Everybody was talking about how, this team is, headed to the Super Bowl. This team is this. This team is, to be dealt with. And early into that mix, I was starting to fall into it. But, I wanted to see how this thing would play out. And it's just like your record, will tell a little bit about who you are as a team. It's not the whole thing, but it will tell you a little bit, about who you are as a team. Now, it will tell you, how your season will be, as well. But looking at Dallas, I think they sit at, what was it? Let me check my notes. I think they sit at 7-4 right now. Looking at Dallas, I look at Dallas as a not middle of the road, but it's still a roller coaster team where you have these moments where they let you down. Now, Cowboy fans should not be surprised by this. My man Tyler Butler, my man being from BS3 Sports, they're Cowboy fans and they understand, that. But you do have some other Cowboy fans, they really don't see what's, in front of them. So if you look at who they've played, they've beaten the Clippers. They've beaten the Chargers, Philly, Carolina, the Giants, New England, Minnesota, and Atlanta. So you got some really good wins in there with, beating the Chargers. And at that point right now, because New England is doing really well, so New England is a good win for them. Minnesota, I look at as a good win. But as this season has played out, Atlanta, we know what's going on with Atlanta. They're just, in a lot of stuff is going on in Atlanta. The Giants, Carolina, Philadelphia, they all are, not really good teams. Now, the teams that they played, that they lost to Tampa Bay, we know that was the first game that they played in the season, and they played really well. It's just, Tampa Bay won the game, so it wasn't like it was a bad game. They did have, speaking of bad games, they had a stinker against Denver. I know that was not, something that they were expecting. Then they played Kansas City as well. Kansas City looks to be back and be that team like they were before. And then, of course, this last game against the Raiders. So I look at the Dallas Cowboys as, I'm not going to put them up there in the top tier teams. I look at them as they have the talent to be a top tier team, but they have not put everything together to show it week in and week out, because you'll have a game that you'll blow Atlanta out like they did and just totally embarrass them, where, you're supposed to take care of teams that aren't as good as you are. But then you'll play a team like Denver and something happens, with this team. So it's still a lot, that's out there that needs to be looked at when it comes to the Dallas Cowboys. Now, Ezekiel Elliott, he has an injury that could be playing a part. They're thinking about sitting him maybe next week. I don't think that's a bad idea. Let Tony Pollard play. Tony Pollard has shown that he can, get quality time and give you quality production. Will it be Zeke Elliott? Probably not, but you don't necessarily need that because you have Dak Prescott. The thing that's really going to, trouble them if they don't get him back, they should have Amari Cooper back, but the thing that's going to trouble them is what is going on with CeeDee Lamb with his concussion, and then, with your line play as well. Sometimes, they're in and out. I think Tyron Smith, I'm not 100%. I think he might have injured himself, but he has had back problems, before. And this last game, I know they complained about the penalties and everything, so I get that. But, it's not just this game. I just think the Dallas Cowboys is a good team. Don't get me wrong. I think they are a good team. It's just there are some games where you think you're going to get a certain Dallas team and you don't get that Dallas team that shows up. And you got to have that consistently, especially when it comes to the playoffs. You can't be lackluster. You can't be slipping. You can't be slacking or anything like that. No team is going to let you, get off. But I do see them still making the playoffs. I still think, they're a team that you can't take lightly if you run into them, because Dak Prescott, as you see, with Dak Prescott under center behind that team, from the difference from last year and this year for the Dallas Cowboys, it's just They got it, they got some things to tweak. And Mike McCarthy, he has been criticized for this as well, for having really good teams, but then they don't live up to the talent that shows up on the paper. We've seen some of that with the Packers. So Cowboy fans, I just need y'all to be realistic as far as like what team y'all have. Do you have a Super Bowl winning team? Possibly. But don't go into it thinking like we're the team to beat, because you're not. There's a lot of teams that's out there that you really got to worry about when it comes to who's the top tier teams. And we'll talk about some of them a little bit later on in my NFL 3-pack. So I think I'm going to take a break. And we're going to get to the 3-pack. It was going to be a 4. But then Lopan looked at me and he was like, you got to do 3, man. You always say 3. Why you going to try and change it up? So I'm going to stick with 3. So when we get back, we'll talk about the NFL 3-pack and more, because your boy is so happy the Michigan Wolverines won. We'll be back after these words. Do you want your next Atlanta event to be memorable? If so, have Drink in Color at your next function. Drink in Color is sophisticated bartending that creates signature cocktails for your special occasion. Wow your family, friends, and business associates next time with Drink in Color. You can contact the owner, Kiki Lewis, at 678-813-7102. That's 678-813-7102. You can also email her at drinkincolor@gmail.com and follow on Instagram at drinkincolor. And tell her you were referred by the Wait a Minute Show. Drink in Color, cocktail catering. Let the cocktail sparkle at your next event.
Do you like making an impression? Who doesn't? Well, when you want to dress to impress for less, check out Rail Scott at Prime Ties to Go on Facebook and Instagram. Quality accessories for men and women at low prices. Everything from ties, bow ties, watches, bracelet, earrings to pocketbooks. Don't miss out. Check out Rail Scott, the owner, at Prime Ties to Go. That's Prime Ties, the number 2, Go, on Facebook and Instagram.
What's up, everybody? It's your man, Jelani J.B. Bodie, host of this thing called The Wait a Minute Show, and I'm getting ready to do another episode. But before I do that, I want to mention the Wait a Minute Show toy drive this year for 2021. We are in our 9th season, and I need your help, ladies and gentlemen, to help some kids to make it a memorable holiday season for them. All donations goes to nonprofit organization Helping Hands of Paulding County, where we help kids anywhere from the ages of 1 to 18 years of age. The donation doesn't matter. $1, $2, $5. It all adds up. So join me by going to thewaitaminuteshow.com. Real easy to do. You can click the donate button and your options will be Cash App, GoFundMe, or PayPal. Dates are November 25th through December 18th. The Wait a Minute Show toy drive. Let's help some kids out in need. It's like magic. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back, and you are listening to
It's the Wait a Minute Show
on the waitaminuteshow.com. So you just saw the toy drive promo, so you heard me talking about it earlier. That will be on Facebook and Twitter as well. So I'll have that out there so you can share that as well. So if you follow me on those platforms, you can get it. If not, you can still hit me up at thewaitaminuteshow@gmail.com, and I can send you the clip too, and you can share it that way as well. So it's on and popping to December 18th. We trying to get to $2,500, ladies and gentlemen. $2,500. There's a lot of stuff we can do with the $2,500. There's a lot of kids that we can sponsor with $2,500. There's a lot of smiles that we can put on people's faces with $2,500. So make sure, go to thewaittaminuteshow.com, click the toy drive button, donate. 3 options. Let's make it happen. So let's get back. And what is it? 3-pack? Yeah, we're going to talk about the NFL 3-pack. So my NFL 3-pack. We're going to start off, and it's week 12, as you see right down here on the ticker. Week 12, we're going to start off with Pittsburgh versus Cincinnati, the 5-4-1 Pittsburgh Steelers, who my Lions made them tie a game, but taking on the 6-4 Cincinnati Bengals. So this is an AFC North matchup. That's one of the reasons why I chose this game. The other reason is that Pittsburgh is starting to get back some of their players. I think Minkah Fitzpatrick is coming back. I want to say Joe Hayden might be coming back, or he might be out. I can't remember 100%, if he's going to be playing in this game. But this is a game where someone could be even close, because you got 2 division games. Cleveland and Baltimore is going to be playing Sunday night. So this is going to be an opportunity, especially if Cleveland makes the upset and takes down Baltimore, where a team, Cincinnati or Pittsburgh, can get closer to that number 1 ranking in that division. But I want to see Joe Burrow. I want to see Jamar Chase. I want to see Joe Mixon. I want to see all these Bengals players that we talked about a little bit earlier during the season. And this is right now, after Thanksgiving, this is the game time. This is the quality, this is where, you make your name and you start putting yourself in a position to where when the playoffs come around, you put everybody on notice. So I want to see what the Cincinnati Bengals can do in this certain situation, playing against the Pittsburgh Steelers, who has all that experience with like Ben Roethlisberger, Mike Tomlin, and others. Because and also Pittsburgh and Cincinnati, they have a history. We know Hines Ward taking out the Rivers cat linebacker, where he broke his jaw. Then you got I can't even remember his name right now, where he took out Antonio Brown. Then the Joey Porter on the field, people getting kicked off. It's a lot of stuff that goes back with Cincinnati and the Pittsburgh Steelers. So this, the history, the division, what's on the line, and just the players that's involved. I think that's a game that's going to be really interesting to watch. The next one is Tampa Bay versus Indianapolis. So I picked this game because this is one, I want to see what Jonathan Taylor is going to do coming off of 5 touchdowns from the previous week. Okay. He's not going to have 5 touchdowns this week. Tampa is going to do everything in their power to try and slow Jonathan Taylor, down. I want to see if Carson Wentz can bounce back. Now, and when I say bounce back, what I really mean, about bouncing back this week, because when you got a guy like Jonathan Taylor and he's on a run like that and he's hot like that, you keep feeding him the rock. But I think with that, the focal point is going to be put on Jonathan Taylor. So this Indianapolis offense with Michael Pittman, with T.Y. Hilton, with, guys, that we really haven't talked about too much at the tight end spot, like Mo Alley-Cox and Jack Doyle, Pascal, among others. They're going to need something. They're going to need offensive output. They're going to need someone else other than Jonathan Taylor. And of course, the second option is going to be Michael Pittman. Now, of course, I'm hoping Michael Pittman does well because I got him in my fantasy football league. But there's going to be this focal point. Now, I do think that they will, try and attack Tampa Bay's, secondary, because there's no Richard Sherman, the kid Dean, which I'm pretty sure he's back. But their secondary, Tampa Bay secondary, has shown that they can be exposed. You don't want to try and run against them. That's why I was saying, Jonathan Taylor, it may be a rough day, for him. So you want to try and expose that secondary, keep yourself in the game, because Tom Brady and them, they're going to try, throw a ball. Now, Indianapolis doesn't have a bad defense. They got a pretty good defense themselves. So I'm not, downplaying that. But you don't want to get behind to where you get one-dimensional. So I'm interested to see what Carson Wentz does this week and see if he can play that back and forth with Tom Brady. And speaking of Tom Brady and this offense, Mike Evans will be playing. He hadn't practiced, for 2 days. So I think he's not on the injury report as well. So he should be good to go. Antonio Brown got put on injured reserve, so he won't be around. Gronk is back for another week. So you got to believe that they're going to implement him, into this offense. And last week we saw a Ronald Jones sighting where he got in the end zone. Now, what does that mean? That, they're going to start incorporating Ronald Jones all the time? I would say no at this point, but they want to, because then you can play a better mixture of him and Leonard Fournette. Again, Leonard Fournette, another guy I got on my fantasy football team that I want to do well. But you got to, as far as like in real life, you got to really play both running backs to keep the defense, honest. But this Godwin will be there, your same old Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But it's the Super Bowl defending champs, against a team that was put together to rival other teams, where Indianapolis believes a lot because they gave up a lot of, stock to get Carson Wentz. So I do think it's going to be a good game, between those, and those are two teams to watch. 6-5 Indianapolis versus 7-3 Tampa Bay. Last game, which I think is the one that everybody's going to be watching because, all these games, especially with 2 extra Thanksgiving games, so it's spread out a little bit more. But I think the game that everybody is going to be watching, everybody's going to be interested in, is going to be the Los Angeles Rams at 7-3 against the Packers at 8-3, excuse me. So the Rams, they're coming off a disappointing loss, and they've had a couple where they have looked bad. Matthew Stafford kind of went back to the Matthew Stafford in Detroit. And what I mean by that is just you having these bad possessions that put the team, and he's talked about this and he put it on himself and he's accepted responsibility, for that. But Matthew Stafford has, put the team in bad situation. I think the Rams, though, for some point with the early success that they had, I think that they got pass happy. And they were like, we're just going to throw the ball. We got Deshaun Jackson, well, he's gone now, but we got Deshaun Jackson. We got Cooper Kupp. We got Robert Woods. Deshaun leaves, and we get Odell Beckham. And that right there, just like they incorporated Odell so fast into the offense, I think they really just wanted to try and prove everybody wrong about Odell, and they wanted to go out there and show, everybody something. I don't know what that was, but what does well for Matthew Stafford is establishing a run game, and it opens up for him to do all of that, go deep, all that, gunslinger mentality, that he has. But when it's just on him and you're just throwing the ball over and over and over and over, that doesn't suit, Matthew Stafford. So I want to see if they get back to a better mixture when they're run and pass and, and maybe some of the play calling on it. Green Bay is going to be, a team that I think will test them of that, because you got the guy on the other side in Aaron Rodgers where he could just start going off. And it's just like, okay, we're going to have to throw the ball. But I don't think it'll be that situation, for this game as well, because there's no Aaron Jones playing. A.J. Dillon is stepping in. A.J. Dillon is a big problem. He is a hefty problem that's going to be out there for the Los Angeles Rams defense. And I think their game plan changes up a little bit, but they still will establish the run. I don't think they're going to be, afraid of the Rams defense. You still got Devontae Adams, and you still have Scantling on this team, and you got Randall Cobb. So you got 2 wide receiver cores that I think is going to be, interesting to watch. You got 2 quarterbacks that's going to be interesting to watch. Rodgers got that toe injury, but he's going to play, even though he hasn't practiced all week. But he's going to play, so he's still good. And Rodgers is one of those guys. He doesn't have to play, or he can be injured, and for whatever reason, it makes him play, even better. So you don't have to worry about that. This is going to be a primetime game where, both of these quarterbacks I see going back, they have history already from Matthew Stafford being in Detroit. So he's played Aaron Rodgers plenty of times. I think this is going to be a high-scoring game, if you ask me. And this is the game that's to watch as far as like for Sunday. So my 3-pack. Pittsburgh versus Cincinnati, Tampa Bay versus Indianapolis, and the Green Bay Packers taking on the Los Angeles Rams. So just make sure you're relaxing and you're sitting down and you're watching some NFL football this weekend. Now, done with the 3-pack, and I want to say on the TV that's playing up here, Notre Dame was up. They had just scored not too long ago. Lopan, check that score for me. Update it here on my pad, please. Thank you. Yes, Notre Dame is up on Stanford 7-0 right now in the first quarter. So that's going to play a big part in how this college football playoff plays out. And at the end of tonight, and definitely next week with all the championship games, we're going to be talking quite a bit about the rankings in college football. So let's get out of football a little bit. Let's touch a little bit on basketball. The LA Lakers. Yes, the LA Lakers. We're talking about the Lakers once again. Lakers are sitting at 10-11 right now, which is 7th in the NBA Western Conference. And we have this conversation all the time, especially with one LeBron James, with any team that he's playing. Because if they're not 17-2 like the Golden State Warriors, the question is, what's going on with the Lakers? What's wrong? You got Carmelo, you got Russell Westbrook, you got Anthony Davis, you got all these these guys that came over to play with LeBron and play on this team, and they're sitting 7th in the Western Conference, and they just lost a 3 OT game against the Sacramento Kings. So you're like, what is going on? LeBron is, have talked about, being more, he has to do more, for this team and everything. I'm not going to disagree with him on that, because doing more doesn't necessarily mean scoring more or whatever. It could be on a defensive side. It could be communicating more. It could be passing. It could be understanding everybody's role. I mean, it could be a lot of things. So I just don't think it's more of just one central thing with LeBron when he says he could be doing more. But I do think that this team sitting at 10-11. I'm not surprised that they're sitting at 10-11. Okay? Anytime you have a team where you do an overhaul and guys like Caruso leave, guys like Schroeder leaves, guys like who is the other person? I'm drawing a blank right now. Quite a few guys, left the LA Lakers. So when you get that, and you got guys that's coming in, and these are guys, not guys that play roles. They were the guy. Now, of course, Carmelo, he's been playing a different role. So he's going to come in and play, the role that they want him to play. But Westbrook coming in, there's going to be, what they're going through right now is what I see them going through for the rest of the year. For them, it's to figure it out. It's to understand their identity, understand what they do well, understand, when and where they need to, assert themselves or not, who to hold accountable, how to hold accountable, all that stuff. All that stuff is, what's going on in this first half. Now, if they're having this problem and they're sitting 7th in the West, and we're getting ready to go into the All-Star weekend, I think it's time to panic. I think it's something, to be worried about. But also, I said this at the beginning, even before the season started. This Laker team is not as dominant as you would think. You got a lot of nice names on this team, but the West, I try to tell people, Golden State is going to be a problem. They are back to, and Klay Thompson is practicing now, ladies and gentlemen. That's the scary part. You got all these other guys with Draymond and Steph, and Klay is on the way. Yes. So I talked about Golden State. You see the Phoenix Suns. They got back on a run. You got Utah. You got a plethora of teams that are in the Western Conference. So it's not just the Lakers and everybody else because they got LeBron James, because they got a Westbrook, because they got Carmelo. No, these teams are really good teams. Not teams that got a great player on it. They have really good teams. So even if the Lakers was clicking on how they've felt that they should, I would say top 4, probably top 3. I still think Golden State will be where they're at right now, and Klay is on the way. I'm not even a Warriors fan, but I'm just trying to tell people, that look, it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be difficult to get through the West. It's gonna be some challenges, and this is what the Lakers are going through right now. With their team. They'll figure it out. Will it be to the point to where the light goes off and it's just like everybody's in trouble? Nah, I'm not going that far. Like, again, these teams in the West are really, really, really good. I think the biggest thing, we're going to get some really good basketball out of some teams in the bottom 4 of the playoff standings, 5 through 8. You're going to get some really good basketball from these teams, and that's how we should want it. We want to have from 1 to 8, actually 1 to 10, just to have some really, really good teams to keep this thing interesting throughout the year. So, Lakers in 7th place, no shock. I'm not losing my mind. I'm not going crazy or anything like that because they're going to figure this out to a certain degree. LeBron's going to do what he needs to do. It's just the West is really doing it. Okay. Somebody's going to be doing something pretty soon. Zion Williamson. He's been cleared for basketball activities, according to reports. So what does that mean for Zion? What does that mean for the Pelicans? What does that mean for the NBA? I'll tell you what that means. Nothing right now. Because he is still on the mend. He is, I think he's playing 4-on-4 right now. But he's closer to getting back on the court than where he was previously. So that's a good thing. This foot fracture injury that he had that has slowed him up. It's just scary because when it comes to your foot, especially as an NBA player, and his movements and what it takes to play in the NBA, and then his game, where his game is above the rim as well, that you put a lot of wear and tear, on your body already. But I just believe it puts even more, on his foot. Now, people are going to be talking about the weight issue and all that stuff. Yes, that plays a part as well. But I just don't hope Pelican fans thinking that Zion is just going to come back out here and then drop 30, 35, 40 points in the first week when he finally touches the court. He is still in that progression stage. He is still trying to get back, to basketball shape so he can play day in and day out, as an NBA player. But it is good to see that he is back to basketball activities where he wasn't doing that before. It was all the rehab. So at this point, the Pelicans, I think they're being smart with this. They are letting him just however long it takes. Because if Zion leaves New Orleans and he goes somewhere else and he turns out to be, what everybody thought he was going to be, the Pelicans are going to be disappointed. They're going to be disappointed. So you make sure you give him everything that he needs, and then you just work on getting this, like they've been trying to do. You work on trying to get talent, down there, and hopefully everything turns out right. But right now, it's all about his health and how he's going to be back after these basketball activities, these 4-on-4, and how he feels, with the foot, how comfortable it is. But it sucks because you wanted to see what this guy could bring to the table, and for any player. I mean, I remember when Grant Hill, after he left Detroit and he got to Orlando and then he got injured, it sucked because although I was sad to see him leave Detroit, it was one of those things where, hey, this guy really, really could entertain playing a game of basketball. And he had the injuries and he tried to come back from them. And, he never was the same, after it. Still very talented. He was talented to show how talented he was, just to come back and do the things that he was able to do after he came back from the injuries. And you just hate for something like that to happen, especially at a young age for a kid, that just really want to come out there and play basketball. So I'm hoping everything can work out, hoping he can get out there, be the Zion that we saw, earlier in his career, and not have to deal with these other additional injuries or questions or, situations that he's been dealing with. But he's on the track. He's trying to work his way back. So speaking of back, we're going to take it back. We're going to come back and do something with the word back. I don't know, a trifecta. But when we come back, we'll talk about college football rankings a little bit. John Wall, and you never know what else we may talk about. No Big L award tonight because we're moving into the festive seasoning and all that stuff. Seasoning, yeah, I said it. Festive seasoning and everything, and just not gonna do a Big L this time. Next week, I can't promise anything next week, but we're not gonna do it this week. But we'll be back and we'll continue to talk sports here in the ATL.
Do you want your next Atlanta event to be memorable? If so, have Drink in Color at your next function. Drink in Color is sophisticated bartending that creates signature cocktails for your special occasion. Wow your family, friends, and business associates next time with Drink in Color. You can contact the owner, Kiki Lewis, at 678-813-7102. That's 678-813-7102. You can also email her at drinkincolor@gmail.com and follow on Instagram at drinkincolor. And tell her you were referred by the Wait a Minute Show. Drink in Color, cocktail catering. Let the cocktail sparkle at your next event.
Do you like making an impression? Who doesn't? Well, when you want to dress to impress for less, check out Rail Scott at Prime Ties to Go on Facebook and Instagram. Quality accessories for men and women at low prices. Everything from ties, bow ties, watches, bracelet, earrings to pocketbooks. Don't miss out. Check out Rail Scott, the owner, at Prime Ties to Go. That's Prime Ties, the number 2, Go, on Facebook and Instagram.
Oh, what's up, everybody? It's your man, Jelani J.B. Bodie, host of this thing called The Wait a Minute Show, and I'm getting ready to do another episode. But before I do that, I want to mention the Wait a Minute Show toy drive this year for 2021. We are in our 9th season, and I need your help, ladies and gentlemen, to help some kids to make it a memorable holiday season for them. All donations goes to nonprofit organization Helping Hands of Paulding County, where we help kids anywhere from the ages of 1 to 18 years of age. The donation doesn't matter. $1, $2, $5. It all adds up.
So join me by going to thewaitaminuteshow.com. Real easy to do. You can click the donate button and your options will be Cash App, GoFundMe, or PayPal. Dates are November 25th through December 18th. The Wait a Minute Show Toy Drive. Let's help some kids out in need. It's like magic.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. So, thewaitaminuteshow.com. Click on that toy drive button and donate. Interesting news. John Wall reportedly has talked with the Houston Rockets and saying that he wants to play. And he wants to play for the Houston Rockets. He want to get some game. He want to get some run in with the team. And as crazy as it seems, I totally forgot about the John Wall situation. Because before the season started, they were talking, engaging, and trying to find, a trade, a team that they could trade with, and they were going to have him sit. So, hey, he's healthy and all this stuff. And maybe sitting has not helped out the situation. Again, I totally forgot John Wall was in Houston because I thought this deal would have been done before then. But then when you think about it, it's just like, they owe him $40+ million. He's coming off some injuries. I think that's probably the biggest thing, with it is the contract as far as a team taking on that. When John Wall is healthy, we all know the guy can play. It's just he's had some bad luck, with injuries. And I think he's probably maybe thinking, hey, if I get in here and I play, maybe some of that interest will change, with these teams. Because if I'm just sitting, then does that open him up, for another potential injury? I hope not. Does that showcase or show any other team, what he has or what he can bring, to a team? No, it doesn't at this point. I mean, we're almost 20 games in, which is almost a quarter of the season. And there hasn't been any John Wall talk as far as like him moving to another team, at least not in front of the cameras. Maybe behind the scenes, there's been some interest or anything like that. So, and I think the guy probably really just does miss playing basketball as well, because a lot of the people that a lot of people that you're cool with, some of those folks I'm sure are probably your friends, and everything. And everybody's playing basketball except for him. So, you only can go down to Lifetime Fitness so many times, and play basketball. So I do believe that he wants to play in the NBA. I do believe he wants to be able to help out a team. And I do believe that, he's looking for the right situation, which I don't blame him because he's 31 years old and he's not 21. So you want to be in a situation where you got a chance to win, where you can contribute also to a team and be, a focal point, because it's obvious that the Houston Rockets are rebuilding and they're trying to invest in younger players, see what they got, and they're trying to develop them players. So that may be playing a part as well, is that he may be asked to do a completely different role than what he's used to. But it seems like he's going to be up, for that. I think he just really wants to just play ball, and go out there and get some run in, and hopefully some other team, will come wanting to make a deal. But I totally forgot. I apologize, for that. You don't have to co-sign for me, Lopez. Okay, I can apologize on my own. I don't need you. I don't need you to do that. All right. Okay. Excuse him. But yeah, John Wall. Wow. Last thing we're going to talk about before I let you go and get you out of here is college football rankings. Though the playoffs is right around the corner, so we're really getting close to who's going to be these top four teams. So We got some championship games that's going to be going on next week. You're going to have the Big Ten championship game. You're going to have the SEC championship game as well. And early because, I've been giving you this Notre Dame game as well. It's still 7-0 to Stanford, but a lot could still change, especially next week with the championship games. But even, tonight while the show is going on, stuff could still change. So, but here are my early rankings, which I think will reflect tomorrow morning. So we'll see if I'm right, because I'm trying to predict some stuff as everything is going on. So I'm trying to tell you kind of like who's going to lose, who's going to win, and all that stuff. Now, we got a lot of games that's already done, so that helps out. But Georgia obviously stays at number one. They beat down Georgia Tech today. They were already number one. Nothing's going to change about that. Alabama gets away with a crazy 4 overtime game against Auburn, 24-22. Alabama, I think they still stay at 2. Just for them climbing themselves out of the hole, but I don't know how the voters may look at it, because they scored their first points, well into the near the end of the fourth quarter, and they scored to tie the game up pretty much with about 20 seconds left in the game, and it was 10-10 then. So then all these other points came, just because it was, in overtime. So I don't know how they're going to look at that, because Auburn wasn't ranked. I do. I still think they're going to keep them at 2, because they want to have that Auburn-Georgia game in the SEC championship, and possibly, I know they do want to keep both, And when you say they, who is they? Yeah, exactly. But, it keeps it interesting when the SEC is there. I know that. But I do think, 1 and 2 will be Georgia, Alabama. 3, I think, will be Cincinnati, because they are undefeated and they are in position throughout they were in position throughout the entire year to winning their games. I still think who they played might come back and bite them, but I do think they'll be in the top 4. I mean, you got them right now at 4. I think they'll move up to 3. You can't take them out now at this point, unless some crazy stuff just really happened. 4. I want to say it's going to be either Michigan or Notre Dame, and seeing how this game is going right now, where it's still 7-0 with Stanford. The longer that Stanford stays in this game with Notre Dame, I think it helps out Michigan case, because we saw, as crazy as it was, Michigan State beat Michigan, and somehow Michigan was still ranked higher than Michigan State. Now, as things play out and Michigan State got blew out by Ohio State, that, I guess, what the voters were saying, came true. And Michigan beating number 2, Ohio State, does wonders, for them. It's a wonder, like, where they would be had they not lost that game to Michigan State, where they were up 16 points. So, but I do think 1, Georgia, Alabama 2, Cincy 3, and I'll say Michigan will be at 4 to start next week. And obviously, at that 4th spot, Michigan's going to have to win. They're going to play against Iowa, because Wisconsin lost to Minnesota. So that is a scary game, because Notre Dame just got a turnover against Stanford. But that's going to be a scary game because you built up and you wanted to beat Ohio State so bad. It opens you up for these letdown games. These letdown games where you come up short because you put so much energy into beating, the previous team. So that scares me, being a Michigan fan. But also, Iowa has an opportunity to make up for some losses that they had during the season and get themselves, into a bigger bowl game. But I'm going, off into another dimension, at this point. Stay with the rankings line, but I do think it's going to be Georgia, Alabama, Cincy, and Michigan. Those are going to be my 4 Even if Notre Dame wins tonight, I still think Michigan will be at that 4 because they beat Ohio State being number 2. So we'll see tomorrow as how it plays out, and then we'll go from there. But great SEC championship game that's going to be coming up. Great Big Ten championship game that's going to be coming up as well. It's a lot of football out there, and the holidays are on us. Now, I said I wasn't going to do a Big L award. I think I'm going to stick to not doing a Big L award. I think I should. I think I should keep my word. But I will mention, and if you follow me on social media, you saw me say this. For people who got their Christmas stuff already hung and outside all before Thanksgiving, just being disrespectful to Thanksgiving, shame on you. Hopefully you didn't show up to no tables, because it's just like you over there showing up with early Christmas stuff hanging all over the place. Didn't say you couldn't buy it early. I'm just saying putting that stuff up. So I'm not gonna give the Big L award out. I'm gonna be easy. I'm gonna be easy with it. But next year I may not be so nice. That's all I'm gonna say. So I'm gonna keep my word. No Big L award. So we're gonna get out of here, and Michigan has done it. Yes. Do you know how tough it is to walk in on a Monday morning somewhere, and everybody know you from Michigan, and everybody know who you root for, and you lose that game? It got to the point where people were like, I feel so bad for you guys, man. I mean, I really wish. No. We're not going to do that. We got beat fair and square. We just got to come back, and we got to win one of these things. And that finally has happened. So I'm ecstatic. So, ladies and gentlemen, another Wait a Minute show in the books. Hopefully you had fun. I know I did. Do not forget, I'm going hard, ladies and gentlemen. The Wait a Minute Show Toy Drive, the 9th annual Wait a Minute Show Toy Drive. Yes, 9 years doing this thing, man. Helping some kids out, sponsoring some kids. Helping Hands of Paulding County, nonprofit organization. That is how we do it here. We get these kids, man, put a smile on their face, help their parents out, man. This is not only just about the kids. This is about the parents, ladies and gentlemen. Helping the parents out. It's tough. I'm a parent. I know what it is. It's tough to be trying to do things and help your kid out. And sometimes you just need a little help here and there. So that's what we're here to do. And I can't do it without you guys. So make sure you're hitting the website and clicking the Toy Drive button and make that donation. Make sure you're sharing it on your social media sites. Making sure you're sharing it word of mouth. Making sure you're just sharing it and putting out some positive vibes. So everybody have a good rest of the holiday weekend, your extended weekend, man. Enjoy some NFL football. Enjoy the rest of college football tonight. Enjoy NBA, whatever other sport that you watch. Hockey, soccer, MMA, boxing, whatever it is that's out there that's going on, man. Enjoy that and enjoy yourself and enjoy others around you, because you never know. You never know when things will change, and then you're going to need those people to lean on, or they're going to need you for leaning on. So, for your man, Jelani JB Bodie, host of this thing called The Wait a Minute Show, I'm going to get out of here. I'll holler at y'all later, man. Y'all be good, and we'll do this again next week, man. Episode 197 in the books. Almost to that 200. Lopan, you ready? 2 things as always. Stay positive and push forward. And we'll holler at you later. Lopan, let's go.
It's the Wait a Minute show.